Mic Drop Moments is sponsored by Grow Radio. Want to launch your own podcast? Grow Radio are here to help. Grow Radio has launched and supported countless podcasts, and they'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and they'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released when you want. Need a little extra support? Grow Radio's workshops and courses make getting started easy. Let's bring your podcast to life. Message Grow Radio on social media or reach out to Gary Jones, the founder of Grow Radio. Let's make this happen. Welcome to Mic Drop Moments, and today I'm chatting with the amazing Buckso Dillon Woolley of House of Wisdom. And I'm just going to say at this start, it was really hard for me not to say Buckso Dwoo, because your Facebook profile is Buckso Dwoo, and for years that's what I thought you were called. So I now know you've got a full name, Buckso Dillon Woolley. So introduce yourself, Buckso, and tell us what you do now.
Thanks for that, Sandra. Yes, Buckso Dillon Woolley. It's a bit long, and I never wanted to keep Buckso Woolley, my married name, because Buckso was bad enough. To then have Buckso Woolley, it would have caused chaos of confusion of magnitude. So I thought, keep the Dillon, which anybody who knows the spelling is an Indian name and spelling, so they'd probably click onto that. And then I kept the Woolley out of, got a sense of duty, really. So DW was the easiest thing to do at the end, Buckso DW. But I'd never thought for a minute that somebody would think it was Dwoo. But why wouldn't you? Because you do have some Japanese names that sound and look exactly the way they're written, right? So what do I do now? I am the accidental editor-in-chief of House of Wisdom magazine, and I've since used that as a bit of a starting point and the peak of the pyramid, as it were, that cascades down into a little ecosystem of empowerment where being vocal, activating amplifying your voice, which is what I'm all about, being a singer, an actor, and a speaker, is the bare foundations of it, because it comes from a place of wanting to be more of service for others, because I didn't have that for myself. So that's where I'm at now with the magazine. I'm also an energy healer and a spiritual life coach, and also I'm writing a book at the minute, so I think I'm not going to call myself an author yet, but I'm an impending author. Nothing accidental about that, though.
Well, I'm writing a book as well, and I was told as soon as you start writing, call yourself an author.
Is it? Okay, I'm doing it then. I'm doing it. I wrote an ebook when I came out the West End in 2016, which was just a little bit of a faff that I put out there just because I needed to vent my spleen after having a year on the treading the boards of the West End. But I didn't push it or do anything. It was just a bit of a cathartic thing that I needed to do in that moment. So I really am an author, I guess.
Yeah. Now, for those who are watching this on YouTube, you might notice that Buckso is sat just there behind me. You are also an award winner, Buckso.
I am, I know, and a Woman Who award winner, something that I'd seen in my periphery for a couple of years. And then one of your winners from last year had a table this year, 2025. And I thought, she says, fancy joining? I was like, yeah, go on then. Sandra's been on my radar for a bit. So this is an open invitation to opportunity. So I went along and she said, yeah, oh, by the way, you've got 3 days left if you want to enter it. And I was like, well, nobody else is going to at this short notice. I'm going to do it myself. And before now, I've always been that sort of person that's like, well, you can't beat your own drum. Validation really comes from somebody else, like a testimonial, to talk about who you are and what you're about. Why would you sit there and just bleat on about how amazing you are? But you know something, when it's not coming from a place of trying to convince yourself or, still steeped in a bit of low self-worth, self-esteem issues and stuff, it's a different kettle of fish when you actually believe the truth of who you are. So yeah, I entered the awards and hey presto, I was more than a spectator on the day.
So I'll let you into a secret. Everyone enters themselves, Buckso.
Every single person.
I think there were 3 out of around 300 that were entered by other people, but everybody enters themselves, despite putting in all over social media, oh, what a surprise, look what they've entered themselves.
Oh my God. Listen, how do you feel about that though? I mean, I'm turning the question around on you, but how do you...
That's what I want. I've been writing my drum since I started Woman Who nearly 10 years ago, and I wanted women to own the fact that they have got something to celebrate, they have got achievements, and nobody knows your story better than you. So why would you sit around waiting for third-party validation when you can put it in yourself? And because it's independently judged, it means more.
And that was the key thing. that was the key thing that I thought, you know what, I've been in other places. I've only ever entered one before. That was November last year. And that was also independent as well, to a certain degree, because, you know, they also sponsored the award itself. Like you had separate people sponsoring the awards, didn't you, to the judges? Because the judges, did they sponsor any of the awards?
The judges aren't really the sponsors, but some of them overlap, but they don't.
Yeah,
They basically judge.
that's it. That's their sole job, right?
Have no input
Yeah.
whatsoever.
And this is where it really differed for me going for this one, because I felt then the gravitas behind it was a lot more weightier. Do you know what I mean? And I would have felt then, actually, yes, I know I'm nominating myself, but look at the process that I've got to go through. You know, it's not going to be bloody easy, so I'm going to do it. And so it was great. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, you've given us a little hint about your background. Take us back and tell us some of the highlights, because we haven't got all day. We'd have to do a series book so to get all of your achievements in, but just give us some of the highlights of your career and what you've been up to in the past.
So a lot of people will know that, from our generation, the kids' TV show, Why Don't You, back in the 80s, 85 to be precise, was when my dulcet tones were used to sing the theme tune to that kids' TV show. I was 13 at the time, and that's the only time I found out, when I look back now, that I had a voice. I would never have gone to a school choir. I wouldn't have gone singing lessons or anything after school back in the 80s. Being a middle child of 6 to first generation Indian immigrant parents, that was the last thing on their mind. So I was given that opportunity to find my voice in that moment. And I then went on to pick my GCSEs at school around creative stuff, left with nothing, did 4 Ds, 2 Es and 2 Fs. Then my dad bought a business. I was born and raised in Stoke, moved to Derbyshire. He bought a business there and I had to run that. So a lot of the times I had no choices. They were always being imposed on me. So I was constantly living in reactionary mode to everything. And I wanted to be an aerostess or a policewoman, or a performer, singer. And I was too short back in the day for a policewoman and an aerostess. Today, Danny DeVito would get in, right? But then it just wasn't happening. So when I found I could sing, I was like, Dad, I want to be a singer. And my innocence and naivety. And he's like, yes, so do you 20,000 other people. Sit down. And of course, that's all I had through life. So I put it to the back of my mind. Life got in the way. They moved back to Stoke when the shop went to pot, and I stayed in Derbyshire, started working at the railway. It's now called East Midlands Railway. Back in the day, 97, met my now husband in 98, and we got married in 2001, had twins, and then everything else went to pot as well, because any plans I'd got went out the window. Part-time job share didn't work then. They're 23 next month in August. So I still had that dream at the back of my mind to be, you know, in performance and somewhere. So I just thought, well, I'm never going to go to drama school or anything. I've got twins now, so I'll just be a background artist. So I went and applied for them sort of positions in 2007. And trained as a beauty therapist in the meantime, did all the jobs. That's not for me. Call center, that's not for me. I was constantly, you know, looking and what am I doing? What's my life about? Pinball in a pinball machine is how I described it. And then a friend of mine knew I was doing background work and said my name. And he was a runner at the time on a show. And this guy just set up an agency. And he told him that, oh, I've got a friend. She's amazing, this, that, and the other. And I think she'd be great for you, new agency. And he's like, yeah, let her know. And so my mate came and told me, said, Buckso, this guy, I've met him, he set up his new agency, he's the head of drama at Italia Conti, and he's setting up his own. And I've told him about you. I was like, I've got twins, you know. Have you told him? I live in Derbyshire. I'm married. I can't move to London, you know. I was throwing everything at it, trying to mess it up, self-sabotage. You've told him everything. I've not been to drama school. I've got no qualifications. Yep. He'll see you. So I did a monologue. And of course, I don't know what a monologue was at the time. So I did Roxy out of Chicago, which if anybody's met me, I'm 5'3" with legs that don't go up to my ears. And so I don't know who I thought I was. I didn't know what the hell I was doing in that audition because I messed up like nobody's business. But I took direction well because he'd tell me to flip the tone, do it like this, now like that. Now you've seen this. They've just said this to you. And he was throwing it at me and I took direction. I changed with him. And I think that that's what helped him to see my potential. And 3 months later, I got my first gig on Coronation Street as the registrar that married Tony and Carla together.
Oh, right.
And so I've done all the UK soaps since then. I've literally, it's almost like the universe said, right, you're 37 books out, now you're going into acting. If anybody had told me at 16, yeah, Buckso, you're going to be an actor and everything. Yeah, you are. You're going to be on a blockbuster Disney film. You're going to be on the West End. You're going to do all the soaps in the UK and some really good dramas and all of this, but not till you're 42. I would have been like, forget it. Don't want to know, not interested. And I always say this, that we don't always need to know when something's going to happen, because if it's meant for you, it will not pass you by, because on paper, everything I've achieved should not have happened, right? So I went on to do the soaps, and full of low self-esteem and imposter syndrome to the max, until I got the gig for Aladdin with Guy Ritchie, who's directing that. Because I asked the musical director, I said, so what's your, because you don't get a chance to do this ever. I was sat in the car with him, young lad, I thought I could take the piss here a bit. I said, so what was the process then of getting this, picking the person for this gig? Like, it's like literally 2 lines. How do you know who to pick? Well, we had all the auditions come through, and we sent over 6 to Guy Ritchie with yours in there, and recommending that they go with you. He can do what he wants afterwards, he said, but when we send the 6 to him, we tell him that we recommend to go with you. And in that moment, I don't know what came over us. I was just like, he picked me. He wanted me. And this is where it landed for me. And I was like, yes, I deserve a seat at the table. Yes, I deserve to be here. And all, because at the early days, if the director would call cut, I'd be like, was that me? Did I do something wrong then? When you're coming from trauma or operating, you can make everything about yourself.
Well,
right? Like the world.
It's that self-belief as well. When you haven't got that self-belief,
oh God,
you're always questioning.
Always.
They mean me.
Yeah. He's got to be talking. I've done something wrong, haven't I? It was me, wasn't it? I'm owning it now. But no. And so when they said that to us, and then to go to that place in that position, and then 2 years, no, because I'd done the West End in 2015, and within 3 months of being there, the night before press night, I got mugged at gunpoint. And I was thinking to myself, again in victim mode, which is a valid thing to do, I guess, out of 32 cast, why have I been the one that's got mugged? They've lived here for years. Somebody's been coming, the guy I was renting with, he's lived here 10 years, coming and going 15. Swiss Cottage, next to St. John's Wood. That's what's the name? It's a decent area. But that's why they don't have bloody cameras anywhere, because it is such a good area. So they couldn't decipher the person anyway. So I was in a state with that one. And then, of course, the year, 8 shows a week, 42 years old, never been, not gone to the gym and got fit. I got show fit, but my body was in a state. And when I left, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in April 2016. And I was done with the industry. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to go anywhere, but I was traumatized to the max. And then Aladdin came. I was like, go on then. Gave that a go. That set me up again. And then bloody lockdown. And I started going from job to job. Oh, Bucks, here's an audition. Yeah, great. Got that job. And I was like, oh, I'm actually an actor now. I've not got no job in between. Then lockdown. And that was it. Then my dad died, actually. My dad died first in January 2020. And then lockdown. And then this last 5 years has just been a huge healing journey, spiritual awakening, bringing me to where I am today.
Yeah. Wow, what a journey. But all those skills from all that journey have brought you to where you are today. You wouldn't be the confident person that, is able to speak and things like that without that. And do you know what? Something you said actually resonated with me. My life didn't really start till I was 40 either, because, I didn't do any of the stuff I'm doing now. I didn't think, my personal brand and all that didn't really kick off until my late 30s, early 40s.
Wow.
So I would have just carried on going and working in the local estate agents, or going and working in the local, because I didn't have that self-belief. And I think, it really is important. You need it's almost as if you do need that external validation to be able to see your own validation.
You do, when you come to that point where you're ready to receive it. Yeah. Right? Because if it had come, I don't know, it was just timing. It just happened to be 2017. Okay, the film didn't get released till 2019. And then, of course, thereafter, everything happened and everything changed the following year. But again, it's almost like going back to that point where I look back through the rearview mirror, joining the dots, it's like, my God, nothing is going to pass you by if you're in the right space and you're open and you're willing to hang fire and go in for the long haul, because courage is what brings confidence. People think you teach confidence. You can't teach confidence. Confidence is something you become through the brave acts that you undertake.
Yeah, and I think confidence is built. It's all the little jigsaw pieces coming together, isn't it? I mean, you can use techniques to appear confident, but inside, I mean, sometimes inside I'm shriveling up
Oh,
in certain situations, but I know techniques that I can use to appear confident when I need to be. And,
yes.
you know, but you build confidence and layers over time. So whatever happens to you or whatever you become a part of builds and builds and builds. So I couldn't do what I do now. I couldn't have done that 30 years ago.
And this is it.
I
Everything
wasn't
comes at
ready.
the right time. Exactly. You've got to be ready to take up space, hold that space for the people, because it does take your energy. And this is where, you know, energy really is everything. As trite as it sounds, being an energy healer, it's like just the tip of the iceberg. Just because we don't believe in something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because we haven't seen something with our own two eyes doesn't mean it didn't happen. And we've really got to start becoming more expansive in our thought processes, our consciousness. To, if we want more, you've got to be able to receive more in your thoughts first.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, obviously I'm in the space and promote visibility from a huge point. You are hugely visible, not only for what you've done, but for what the confidence you know, you exude, which is probably down to your energy.
Yeah.
So tell us about, you mentioned the accidental magazine. I've got an accidental business, woman who was an accidental business, broke my ankle, launched business. Why not? You know, but it is really,
Yeah.
it was a project to keep me occupied while I was in plaster. Uh,
Mm.
Years later, I'm
Still
no
going.
plaster, but the business is still going. So tell us about this, why you call it an accidental magazine.
So I call it, I'm the accidental editor in chief,
Yeah,
because again, it goes back to that thing. Well, you've got no journalism, you haven't got a degree in broadcast or anything like that. And the old me would have been mortified at the fact that I was calling myself an editor in chief, because I wasn't writing for a living or doing a degree related to that. But you know what I now know for sure? When you become the embodiment of confidence, when you become the embodiment of what it is that you speak of and you preach, you don't have any effort involved. So for me to now say that with my chest and have no way about it, feel no way about it, I owe it all to the fact that it's a purpose that I've got to do, because it's not about me. It's not a vanity metric. It's not something I need to look good for. God knows I don't need the hours it takes, the unpaid hours at the moment to take to do the flipping thing. But I know that this was something I would love to have had 30 years ago. I've been going to psychic fairs since I was 19. I'm 52 now. I kind of get the gist and the drill of what it's about. And I've seen the industry and what it looks like. And it's the spiritual community, I'm afraid. And I say this with zero emotion, just observational fact from my perspective, is toxic. And unfortunately, there's people out there that are being kept in these loops, going back to these psychic fairs for a reading. I'll see you next time. I got my bra, got my crystal in my bra. I'll see you next time. Where's the empowerment there? So this magazine is all about the people, the individual story that has hope and inspiration, but has the wisdom piece at the end of it. The fact that they do not regret what they've gone through, but they love the fact that it's brought about this new level of wisdom that brings about confidence. Having wisdom brings confidence. Nobody can argue with anything that I say, because I have such conviction in it, being so connected to my true self now. And that's priceless. That's not something, again, you can teach in an 8-week course. It's living it day in, day out. So that's where the accidental element of it came. And I'll probably only get away with that for so long. I'll do it for this year, and then next year I'll just own it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was listening to when you were announced as a winner and you came on stage and you were asked a question and you said something. You said, "I'm not accepting this for me. I'm accepting it for everybody." And it was an
Yes.
interesting concept there. And some people do say that, but you were so passionate about it. You know, the way you stood there and you said, you know, and you said your piece and you got it,
Yeah.
and it meant so much for you to receive that for
Yeah.
everybody. And that was
Yeah.
in
The
that.
unseen, the unheard, unseen middle child. You know, those of us out there that have got so much to say, but don't have the confidence or the support network around them to be able to stand up and say, yeah, I've nominated myself for an award, you know, because I know there's people in there out there that've got somebody else's voice saying, you what? I wouldn't bother about that. Oh, you're embarrassed, aren't you? I know they've got it out there and they're getting it. And I'm here for them people to say, look, if I can do, I'm nothing special. And people do make you extraordinary. Oh, it's all right for her because she's an actor. Oh, it's all right for her because she's got like loads of money. She's got families wedged. They make you extraordinary to stay ordinary. They stay where they are. It gives them permission to stay safe.
Yeah. Well,
unachieving.
The reason I started Woman Who was to create more women in business role models to inspire others, but not these role models that stand up on a pedestal, not these role models that are celebrities and whatever. Every single woman that won an award this year at the 10th anniversary was absolutely shocked that and you can see it from their faces as they're walking up. Me, you know, they almost question it. And some of them, when they got on stage, were so emotional because they really didn't believe, why me and not somebody else? And it's instilling that belief in people. It's instilling that confidence in them, and then showing others in the audience that can be you too.
Because you've got to, not everybody that goes up there is going to appeal to everybody in the audience. And that's great because there isn't one person for everyone ever. And there's going to be a piece of something that somebody says, one sentence that's like, wow, that's it. I'm going to go in for myself, because they don't need to hear a whole spiel. They don't need to hear a whole speech to be inspired and motivated. It's normally the words, the sentence that hits them, and they're like, I can do that. Yeah. And that's what it is.
And it's the same reason why I open up my stages and say I create opportunities for people to share their stories on my stages, through my podcast, on the stages and elsewhere, so that if just one person sees or resonates with just one word or one sentence, as you say, that somebody's said or shared in their story, and say, oh, that's me.
Job done.
If she can do it, I can do it. And
yeah.
That's the whole ethos of Woman Who, and the journey, and people, let's share our stories, let's share.
Yes.
So more women are empowered and see to themselves, well, if you know, I can do it too. It's that I can do it too. Yeah,
that's it. And I think, you know, I do tend to beat my drum a little bit about the sort of 45, 50 plus woman that's kind of put out to pasture in society. And what's got to change around that is the narrative and the understanding that what we've got, we don't look like our parents might have looked at 45 or 52. We look better. We're supposed to. We've got so much more available to us, right? And my kids' generation, when they're 35, 50, they'll look better than we did probably, right? And it's essential that somebody somewhere, I know Wendy is looking to do all of that with her refinement thing, but it's essential that somebody starts that process of saying, guys, you are not over the hill. You are not heading and hurtling towards retirement. If you do what you love, why would you ever stop doing it? Why?
Which is why I bang on about the Japanese concept of ikigai.
Yes.
There is no retirement in Japan. Everybody lives their purpose every day, and the longevity.
Oh, look how long they live.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. You've got to. And it's essential that people find that thing that sets them alight. Even if you're working part-time in the day job to pay the bill that has to get paid, that's okay. Let's not make it wrong. Just do the other side. You know, there's balance. That's why we've got the yin and yang element of black and white. You've got to have that balance. Do those things that you love. However silly or stupid it might sound to your friends and family, just do the things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's on the horizon? What have you got coming up?
So if this is going out in a good time, before the end of September the 28th, I'm launching the thing that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've done it before lockdown. I did do a lifestyle wellbeing show. I used to do that in 2018. Then lockdown happened. It's the Mind Body Wisdom Expo. Mind, Body and Spirit, I say, has been around since the 70s. Mind, Body, Spirit, MBS Fair, MBS. It's time to stop that, or at least have an alternative to the alternative. I've created the Mind, Body, Wisdom because the spirit is now seeking the wisdom. So I want to bring those businesses out there that have something to say and share, that need to have their voice amplified because they are scared of doing it. And the environment now, as it stands for them, is too toxic. They're scared to be in that space. They don't feel safe. I'm creating that space for those people that are ready to embody, or who embody what they do, what they sell. It's not just to get a bit of money in or a quick book. It's like, I love what I do because it came from this place. And that's why I've decided that it's going to be an expo that I hold once a year. Retailers come, people come for free for the first hour. You know, after that, it's charged on the door. But it's time. It's time for that. So that'll be something that people can book onto in Eventbrite. It's called the Mind Body Wisdom Expo 25.
We will share the details in the show notes when this goes live. And also, you know, do you still take acting jobs if they come by, or?
I do. And you know what? Because of who I've now become, as in the real version of me, the brave, the courageous, the confident, the knowing version of myself, I know myself now. I feel confident to say no to my agent. Before lockdown, I would have been like, better not say no because he'll get rid of me. And, you know, if I keep saying no, he'll be like, oh, he'll get somebody else. And now it's like, you know what? If you need me to leave your agency, I will go. I tried to retire from him a couple of years ago, and he said, I'm not taking your resignation. But if I take you off the scene, they'll forget about you. Because I said, I want to take a year out. I'm done with this industry. I'm tired of it. The vacuous nature, it's shallow. I'm not here for that. And all of this, which I wasn't before, but I really felt it. And he said, look, I'm not taking you off the books. You know, just say no. I needed permission from him. So yes, I do still take auditions and things. I haven't, I filmed something last year that's just in July, when was Cannes? May? Got rave reviews. It's called Urchin. So that was done by a great guy, Harry Dickinson. He was his directorial debut. And if you've seen Where the Crawdads Sing, he was the American lad that gets offed in that. But he's been in some great films. He really has. I see his style of film directing as like that of Mike Leigh, and who's the other one that does really social realist stuff? I forgot his name. Shane Meadows. Yeah. That sort of thing. I think that's his style. So I've yet to see it. I've not watched it yet, but I did have to have a bit of a like, bloody hell, Buckso. You know, loads of pairs of eyes have seen you at Cannes on that bloody big screen, you know, that got, I mean, the lead actor got like, won the best actor award or something. And I've always downplayed this sort of thing because I never get involved in the industry. I don't hang out with actors. Not really a fan of them, to be honest. But I'm really going to own this now when it comes out. I'm going to own it, and I'm going to really, yeah.
And how lovely that you can pick and choose what you want to do.
I know. And it's not because I've got like loads of money in the bank and I'm like Queen Sheba. It's because I've got more value about who I am. Yeah. And where my time that I'm never going to get back again is best well spent. And it's not going back to necessarily do something I've done 10 times. I'm kind of like past that social worker. I'm past that doctor, nurse, detective. I mean, give me a regular role for God's sake. I'm going to have a conversation.
Well, I've absolutely loved chatting to you. Sadly, we have run out of time, but I always ask my guests to leave our audience with a mic drop moment, something that piece of wisdom, a top tip, something you'd like to share with the audience.
I think for me, it's always coming back to getting to the place and wanting for yourself to get to a place within yourself that nobody else can ever hang anything on. And if you take full ownership of every part that you play in the way your life's creating out and the results it brings you, that's the first step of empowerment. Nobody's got anything on you if you sit there and say, yeah, I messed up. Yeah, I got that wrong, but I'm going to keep going. Once you do that, people can't diminish you. So don't diminish yourself from the beginning by regretting the choices you make. Make sure they're always coming from a place of your truth.
Fantastic. Today, I've been chatting to Buckso Dillon, aka Buckso Dillon Woolley. Buckso Dillon Woolley. It's been great chatting to you, Buckso.
Really good. Thanks, Sandra.